My mama died this morning, and the world didn't even notice. No dramatic thunder, no movie score music swelling in the background, just a quiet hospital room, a worn-out woman taking her final breath, and me, sitting beside her, trying to hold on to something I knew I was about to lose forever. She was all I had. No siblings, no father in the picture, just her and me through everything. And now it's just me. She didn't leave me money. She didn't leave a plan. Just a whisper, right before she went. Find the rancher. That's it. 3 words. No name, no address. Just a direction carved into my chest by grief and confusion. I didn't even know what it meant, but something about the way she said it made me feel like I had to go. So I went. A duffel bag, 1 old photo, and a one-way bus ticket to Montana. The picture showed a younger version of my mama, leaning against a fence post, next to a man in a cowboy hat. Tall, weathered. He had that look in his eyes like he'd seen too much and said too little. Behind them, a barn painted the color of dry blood. No writing on the back, no timestamp, just a feeling, a pull. By the time I got off the bus, the sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across an empty town that looked like it had forgotten time existed. A single diner, a gas station, and a sky so wide it made your problems feel like pebbles. I asked around, showed the photo. Most folks shrugged or shook their heads until one old man behind the diner counter looked up, narrowed his eyes, and said, "That's Jack." Jack. He pointed me west, said the ranch was out past the ridge, near the edge of the forest. Said Jack didn't like visitors, didn't talk much, lived quiet after some kind of loss, no family, no friends. Just cows, dogs, and the wind. I started walking. The gravel crunched under my boots, dust kicking up like smoke behind me. Every step felt like I was walking deeper into a story I didn't understand. The kind of story where something big happens and nothing stays the same. When I reached the gate, the sky had turned orange. The fence was old but strong, wrapped in wire and silence. A weathered sign read, "Do not trespass." I hesitated. For a long moment, I just stood there, palms sweating, heart thumping like I was about to knock on the door of a stranger who somehow already knew my whole life. Then I opened it. The dogs barked first. 2 of them, fast and low to the ground, came rushing at me like I was dinner, and danger rolled into one. But before they reached me, a voice called out low, gravelly, and calm. "That's enough." And they stopped, just like that, sat down at his feet. And that's when I saw him. Tall, broad shoulders, skin like leather, and eyes that cut right through the evening light. Cowboy hat tilted just enough to hide his expression. A man carved out of silence and grit. "Who are you?" he asked. I held out the photo. My hands were shaking. "She told me to find the rancher, said you'd know." He didn't take the photo, didn't blink, just looked at me for a long, quiet moment. Then finally, he said, "Come on in, before the sun goes down." And just like that, the gate closed behind me. If you're still watching right now, take a second to hit that subscribe button to West Stories, because this is just the beginning, and what's coming next will hit even harder. Inside the ranch house, it smelled like pine wood and old books, the kind of place frozen in time. Pictures on the wall, none of them recent. A clock ticking too loud. a fire burning even though it wasn't cold. He sat across from me, finally taking the photo, looked at it like it was a ghost. "She was here," he said, voice rough, almost breaking. "A long time ago." I didn't know what to say. I wanted to ask who he was to her. A friend? A lover? Something more? But the way he looked at that photo told me not to push just yet. "I got a spare room," he said finally. "You can stay the night. Tomorrow we'll talk." "Just for one night," I said. He nodded once. "We'll see." But that night, lying in a bed that smelled like cedar and dust, I knew something was shifting. This wasn't just a stop on the road. Something about this place, about this man, it felt like a door opening to a part of her life I never knew. And maybe, just maybe, it was about to change mine. I didn't sleep much that night. The wind outside sounded like whispers, not the spooky kind, but the kind that feel like memories trying to speak through the trees. And inside, the silence was heavier than the air. I lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about Mama, wondering who this man was to her, wondering why she sent me here. When morning came, it didn't sneak in. It hit hard sun pouring through the curtainless window like truth that doesn't care if you're ready for it. I got up, stepped into boots that didn't quite fit right, and walked out into the kitchen. He was already there, coffee steaming in a chipped white mug. No good morning, no small talk, just a nod toward the second cup. "You ride?" he asked. "Not really," I said. "Mama couldn't afford horses." He didn't smile, but something about his eyes softened like he understood more than he let on. Time to learn. Out in the barn, it smelled like hay, leather, and hard work, the kind of smell that sticks to your soul. He didn't say much as he saddled the horse, just handed me the reins and said, "Her name's Dolly. She don't like lies." I didn't lie. I just held on. The ride was rough at first. I bounced like a sack of potatoes, but I stayed on. We rode past wide fields, rusted fences, and skies that looked too big for just one person to carry. He showed me how to move with the horse, not against her, how to listen, not with ears but with presence. "You don't control a horse," he said. "You earn her trust. Same goes for people." That line stuck with me. We spent the whole day out there, fixing fences, feeding cattle, saying almost nothing. But in the quiet, something was happening. Like my soul was thawing. Like grief was getting its boots muddy and walking beside me instead of crushing me. As the sun dipped low again, we rode back to the house. He didn't say it out loud, but I could tell something had shifted. In him, in me, in the space between us. That night, after dinner, which was just beans and bread and the best damn silence I'd ever eaten, I finally asked the question that had been burning in my chest. "What were you to her?" He stared at the fire for a long time. Then he said, "I was the man who let her go." My heart caught in my throat. She was younger than me, too wild for a place like this, but I loved her more than I ever said. He looked over at me. His eyes weren't hard anymore. They were tired, full of memories. "I told her to leave, to chase her dreams. She did, and she never came back." I didn't know what to say. Part of me was angry. Part of me felt like I understood. "She didn't talk about you," I whispered. He nodded. "I reckon she had her reasons." Silence again. Heavy, honest silence. The kind that tells you the truth without saying a word. Then he asked something I didn't expect. "You got anywhere else to go?" I shook my head. "Not really." He nodded slowly, like that answer meant more than I knew. "Well, I got work. Barns falling apart. Fences need fixin'. Dogs need fed. If you want to stay, you earn it." "I'll work," I said, quicker than I should have. "I'm not afraid to work." He stood up, walked over to the door, then said without turning, "Then you can stay. For now." If you're still watching this and the story's tugging at something in your chest, maybe hit that subscribe button to West Stories. Because this journey's just getting started, and it only gets deeper from here. That night, I lay in bed again, same old creaky frame, same wind whispering outside, but something felt different. I wasn't just passing through anymore. I was starting to belong. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so alone. Days turned into weeks. I worked the ranch like it was my own, sun up to sundown, hands blistered, back sore, boots always muddy, and I never once complained, because for the first time in my life, pain felt like healing. Jack wasn't the type to say much, but he noticed everything. How I handled the cattle, how I fixed that busted fence post without asking, how I stayed up one night, feeding a sick calf by hand until it could stand again. One morning, he tossed me a pair of old Gloveshees gloves, said nothing, just nodded. That nod, it meant more than 1,000 words. We didn't talk about Mama much. I wanted to, but some things sit too deep to dig up right away. Instead, we talked through actions, through silence, through the rhythm of routine. But the past has its own way of showing up. One day, I was cleaning out the attic looking for a wrench, and I found it. A box, covered in dust, tied with twine. Inside were letters, dozens of them, some unopened. All of them addressed to Jack, all written in Mama's handwriting. My heart dropped. I sat there on the wooden floor, light streaming through the cracks, reading words she never shared with me. Letters full of love, regret, stories about me, about how I was growing, how she wished things were different. And every single one of them ended the same way. "If you ever need us, we're here." Us. She never gave up on him. That night, I left the box on the table, didn't say a word, just went to bed, heart pounding like a drum. The next morning, it was gone, and Jack didn't bring it up, but something in him changed after that. He started talking more, not much but enough. Told me about the night Mama left, about how he pushed her away, thinking he was protecting her from a hard life out here. Said he thought she deserved more than dirt roads and broken tractors. "She didn't want more," he said one night as we sat on the porch, dogs curled up at our feet. "She wanted real, but I didn't see that till it was too late." The stars above us felt closer than ever, like they were listening. "I think she sent you here," he added, "not just for you, but for me." I didn't know what to say. My throat was tight. I just nodded, same way he used to. We sat in silence for a long time, but this time the silence felt warm, not empty, like something sacred was being shared without needing to be spoken. You see, stories don't always explode. Sometimes they unfold, quietly, slowly, like a sunset that stretches forever. And that's what this was. If this story's got your heart the way it's got mine, don't forget to subscribe to West Stories, because the final part is coming next, and you don't want to miss what happens when love, legacy, and forgiveness all meet at the same front gate. One night, maybe a week later, Jack called me outside. He was standing near the barn, holding something, a piece of wood. "I made this a long time ago," he said. "Thought it'd be her name on it one day. Never finished it." It was a sign, hand-carved, faded, but beautiful. "I want you to finish it, with your name." I stared at him, not fully understanding. "This place," he said, pausing like the words were hard to grab, "it was always hers in my heart, and now it's yours too." I didn't cry then, not until later, when I was alone, when it really hit me. I came here lost, just a kid with a dead mother and a photo. Now, I was home. Summer was starting to fade. The mornings came cooler, crisper. You could smell the change in the air. That quiet kind of shift only ranchers and folks who live close to the land really notice. It wasn't just the seasons turning. It was us too. I wasn't the same kid who got off that bus holding a photo and a memory. I was stronger now, not just in my hands or shoulders, but in my heart. Jack and I settled into a rhythm. We worked side by side, sometimes speaking, sometimes not. But the silence between us wasn't hollow anymore. It was a language all its own. One afternoon, I found myself at the old oak tree behind the barn, the one with the swing tied to it, faded from years of weather. Mama must have sat there once, maybe even carved her name in that trunk. I never found it, but I looked anyway. I sat there thinking about her, about all the things I wish I could have said, about how strange it was that by losing her, I found this place. Found him. Jack walked up beside me, stood for a minute before he spoke. "She ever tell you about the time we tried to ride a bull?" I laughed. "Mama? No way." He smiled, a real one this time, first I'd ever seen. "Yup, she lasted about 2 seconds, got thrown so hard she swore at the clouds." I pictured it. Young Mama, wild and fearless, dirt on her jeans and fire in her eyes. And I smiled too. "You remind me of her," he said quietly. "Not just how you look, but how you don't quit." That hit me deep. Then he looked straight at me. "You ever think about staying for good?" I stared at the tree, at the ranch, at the sky that stretched wide enough to carry every piece of who I used to be. "I do," I said. "I think about it a lot." He nodded, took a breath. "Well then," he said, almost whispering, "you can stay, forever if you want." And just like that, my heart cracked wide open. He didn't say it like a favor, or like he owed something. He said it like it was always meant to happen, like I belonged here, and maybe always had. That night, I didn't dream about Mama in a hospital bed. I dreamed of her laughing, riding that bull, running barefoot through fields, watching me from the porch as I fixed the fence. I like to think she knew that from wherever she is now, she saw it all. The way he made space for me. The way I filled the silence she left behind. The way grief didn't destroy Mate, led me home. I never did leave the ranch. And every so often, when the sun sets just right behind the barn, I hear her voice in the windsoft, proud, full of peace. "I told you he'd remember." So, if this story moved you even just a little, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button to West Stories. Because somewhere out there, someone's holding on to a photo. And maybe, just maybe, their road leads them here too. To a place where the past still echoes. Where broken things grow back strong. And where a rancher once said, "You can stay forever